See, this is why sometimes you got to learn to leave people alone and mind your own damn business. This is exactly why. You bark up the wrong tree, it might just fall on you.
Why didn't I even look at Angel Reese when I made the $5 million offer to Caitlin Clark for the Big Three League? The response highlights a little-known fact about sponsorships and the reasons why Reese's marketability is being questioned from every side. With sold-out arenas and soaring jersey sales, Caitlin Clark dominates Chicago, pushing Angel Reese's Reebok campaign to the sidelines. Is Reese destined to always be in Clark's shadow, or does her brand have an escape route?
Well, they're about to come for Ice Cube. They're about to come and get Ice Cube. We know how this works. It won't be long.
Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese, is the recipient of the $5 million offer from Ice Cub's Big Three League. And let's face it, this reveals how much sponsors value the two. That offer had nothing to do with charity or a congrats on a job well done. It had to do with business. It's straightforward. Simply said, Ice Cube does not engage in financial loss.
This is what Ice Cube had to say. This is directly from Cube himself. With Caitlin Clark, it was just to unlock millions of dollars for the league. They didn't tell us the same thing about Angel Reese, so I don't know if we can make that same offer.
The $5 million payment wasn't merely an acknowledgement of Clark's ability. It was an obvious indication of her marketability and capacity to generate revenue. Silence for Angel Reese, not even a quick look. So why the distinction between skill and skill is not as clear-cut as it seems. The media, sponsors, and fans are all keeping close eye on the numbers.
Ice Cube, because Ice Cube has come out and given everybody some brutal truth, and there is a portion of this that just tells you everything that we've been telling you. This is just confirmation.
Caitlin Clark is irresistible because to her numbers. Sponsors consider more than simply your performance on the court. They examine the effect of ripples. For instance, Clark's jersey sales totally defy predictions. They have outperformed season benchmarks and top charts even during the WNBA off-season. And sponsors rely heavily on that type of evidence, observable, measurable success.
And then we got Ice Cube bombing on Angel Reese, talking about, man, she's not worth the money that Caitlin Clark was worth. Caitlin Clark unlocked millions for the WNBA. Oh, we gonna get into all of that.
You can't really argue with TV ratings either. The number of people watching Clark's games regularly doubles or triples what we've previously observed. It's not just home games either. It's everywhere. Arenas are full even while Clark is performing, not just the teams paid to see her. Fans do as well. She is the ideal candidate because of this. Since every wager on her yields a huge payout, she is not a gambler.
So, Ice Cube, you see the headline from TMZ. Sorry, Angel Reese, the $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark.
Business is business, and you know, the men lie, women lie, the numbers don't. It is as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Let's now turn the table on Angel Reese. She was locked in for a campaign by Reebok, and at one point it seemed like she might compete with Clark for sponsorship. However, maintaining that pace was where things began to go wrong. The industry is already taking note of Reese's Reebok campaign. Since Ree isn't turning her publicity into real outcomes as Clark is, what began as a lot of hoopla has subsided into background noise.
And what's hilarious is, this is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors. Oh man, Angel Reese fans are gonna be pissed.
Reese's branding seems stale in contrast to Clark's jersey sales, which are flying off the shelf. There just isn't any financial return. Additionally, stagnation is death in a money game that is results-driven. This has been observed by industry insiders, and the evaluation is unfavorable. Few other women's athletes can match Caitlin Clark's return on investment, making her a safer choice for sponsors.
Ice Cube makes it clear Angel Reese's worth isn't close to Caitlin Clark's. Speaking to TMZ this week, the rapper turned league founder explained that the snub wasn't personal, but it was business. That's all it is, business. Y'all gonna make it personal though.
Reese, meantime, is viewed as a gamble that might not succeed. With someone like Clark already producing, sponsors don't place bets on potential. With every statistic, every transaction, and every fan lining up for a Clark jersey screaming one thing, the industry adage, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't, has never felt more pertinent. She is a sure thing.
TMZ Sports caught up with Ice Cube himself at LAX this week, and the Big Three honcho said that there will be no deal put in front of Angel Reese anytime soon.
What is preventing Reese from progressing? She lacks skill, that's clear. The confidence factor is the problem. Athletes are trusted by sponsors to represent their company, image, and finances. They can almost feel the money printing itself when they work with Clark. However, Reese isn't providing them with the same guarantee. However, the Ice Cube agreement is not the end of this division. In actuality, the situation becomes even more unbalanced when you consider how Clark is capturing markets like Chicago that Reese ought to control.
Listen to the following, Angel Reese fans. Ice Cube told us sponsors assured him Clark coming to his organization would rake in cash hand over fist.
Everyone, even Angel Reese, is shaking their heads about what Caitlin Clark is doing in Chicago. I take it that the city is intended to be Reese's territory? But let's discuss the facts. It felt like a cultural conquest when Clark arrived. As though she were Michael Jordan's second coming, fans were swarming her. The energy, the venues, the streets, everyone seemed to want a piece of Caitlin Clark.
What happened to Miss Angel Reese? She's all in Indiana during All-Star and her Reebok campaign, come to your trap, take over your trap. What happened to that? Because it looked like Caitlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city over.
It was more than simply hype, it was supported by some ludicrous figures. TV ratings are out of control, sellouts, attendance, practically every game, even when she's performing on the road. Reese, meantime, wasn't even present. Fans literally wondered whether Reese was avoiding direct comparisons by skipping some of these contests. A supporter even stated, if Caitlin's out there filling arenas and Reese is nowhere to be found, the contrast is painfully obvious. That's a bold claim, but the data speaks for itself.
It looked like she took the city over. She took your trap over. Caitlin Clark, bro, it was more fans running. They was running down on Caitlin Clark like she was Michael Jordan. CC with MJ. CC get treated like MJ in the rack. Oh my God.
Let's dissect it even further now. In a league where attendance is typically low, Clark attracts elite audiences with ease. According to a Chicago fan, they traveled for hours to see her, even paying more for tickets than the WNBA average. This isn't arbitrary. Sponsors refer to this as organic fan base growth.
Caitlin Clark getting treated like Derrick Rose, Michael Jordan, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, all of them. Caitlin Clark took over Chicago. She signed autographs for hours.
Considerate sponsors pay attention when people are willing to travel merely to watch you play ball. It's evident when you contrast it with Angel Reese's ongoing difficulties with her Reebok commercial. Reese undoubtedly had early momentum, but it seems like the excitement is fading. Although respectable, even her jersey sales fall short of the absurd standards Clark is setting. It's not simply jerseys that Clark sells, she is influencing the culture.
This wasn't no extras that was paid to come stand in the scene. No, these were real people trying to get autographs.
In memes honoring Clark's supremacy in Chicago, fans crowned her queen of the rack. When was the last time Reese participated in such a discussion? The image of Clark ostensibly possessing the city that Ree ought to have held in her grasp may have been the most absurd aspect. The sold-out games, the crowds that overflowed into the streets, and the jerseys that flew off the shelves like concert memorabilia.
Get her a Harold's Chicken membership. Mild sauce. Give Caitlin Clark all the mild sauce she want. She running Chicago, the queen of the rack. The biggest Barbie.
It even felt like a full-fledged fan stampede, according to one insider. For Angel Ree, this had to hurt because it was a movement rather than a moment. The idea that perhaps, just possibly, the pressure is getting to her is fueled by her absence. The difficult questions began to be asked by fans. Is Ree avoiding these circumstances because she finds the comparisons too much to handle? If that is the case, retaliating from that position is nearly impossible.
All these fans, man. See what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you just gotta understand your place sometimes. Look, they talking about Caitlin Clark took over Angel Reese's trap. See, this is why you don't need to keep trying to take shots at her. She took the city over.
In actuality, the brand takes precedence over the basketball when even Reese's hometown appears to favor Clark. Clark has succeeded in putting herself in line with this irresistible trend. It all comes down to the unadulterated perception between the two, even though Reese's potential seems limited by her incapacity to elicit the same unwavering commitment.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't know how you could ever imagine, like, how can you compete with this? Come on, just leave it alone, Angel. And this is why I'm saying, you be making yourself look crazy because in all actuality, there's no comparison between you guys.
Chicago's response says a lot about Reese's standing in the industry as well as about Clark's control. Additionally, the analogies to Clark will only intensify if she is unable to reverse these optics. Is that the true cause of Reese's current sense of stagnation?
You need to stop trying to attach yourself to this girl at every turn because she has officially come to your trap and taken over your trap. Look at all of the fans coming from all over.
The explanation for Angel Reese's brand's failure may be more straightforward and severe than it first appeared. She is frequently mentioned alongside Caitlin Clark, and not in a positive light. You wouldn't know it from the way every story comes back to Clark, even if Ree is a celebrity in her own right.
This is why I say, Angel Reese, you need to stop trying to attach yourself to this girl at every turn because you cannot measure up. You don't have as many followers you have on Instagram. That is great. I will not take away from the fact that you are one of the bigger brands in the WNBA. You are a star in your own right, but you are not Caitlin Clark. It's a difference.
This ongoing attachment, whether from the media, the fans, or even Reese herself, gives the impression that her brand isn't self-sufficient. One commenter was spot on. Now that you're competent enough to stand alone, why don't you? Furthermore, that remark goes deeper than it first appears. It suggests a barrier that Ree hasn't entirely surmounted, departing from the never-ending comparisons.
She's not the draw, folks. I don't know how else to say it. Quote, I don't know if we can make that same offer. Cube initially sent the offer Clark's way when she was an Iowa Hawkeye. She would have only needed to have played in 8 regular season games and potentially 2 playoff games to earn the exorbitant amount of cash.
Industry insiders have also begun to draw attention to this issue. And with good reason. Sponsors don't find it appealing when people think of Ree as someone who just exists in opposition to Clark. Ree actually finds it much more difficult to forge her own identity as a result. A player whose headlines are constantly versus is not what sponsors desire. They seek distinctiveness and a distinctive narrative to market.